Wow. I'm sure you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. Since the last update for Cronos that I recorded for you guys 18 hours ago, so much has happened. And one key area that I obviously indicated in the update is us breaking out of that 3-year level that we haven't seen for over obviously 3 years. And after breaking out of that key range, what we've discussed really end up playing out, and it even exceeded the expectations. We're going to talk about that. If you enjoyed these Crow token updates, let me know in the comments. Smash that like button, hit that bell icon, and I will give you guys these updates. So on the daily time frame, Cronos is up 51%. Yes, guys, you're not making this up here. This is a reality, up 51% over the course of the last 24 hours. And if you're looking at it on a weekly time frame at this point, up 141%. And I wouldn't even say, a weekly time frame. I would say over the last, 3 days specifically, we have seen Cronos going up that much, and that is due to, the major announcement that we have covered just yesterday for you guys. But let's take a look at the price right now. 35 cents, up 52.7% in USD, up 51% in Bitcoin, and up 55% in Ethereum comparative, which is again crazy to think about. Market valuation $11.8 billion. And forget about the valuation for a second. Take a look at the 24-hour trading volume, $2.4 billion. Just a few days back, I would say like 48 hours ago, we were not sitting anywhere close to this amount of volume. And that really tells you how big of a deal this really is, this specific announcement, of course. But as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So take a look at this. 18 hours ago, we were sitting at 22.4 cents for Cronos. This is absolutely crazy to think about. And here we have it, seeing that massive, push towards the upside. And we're going to talk about, what are some of the next targets and so on and so forth. But, Chris, who is Crypto.com CEO, says GM, Crow token is up another 51%, hits $10 billion market cap on $1.4 billion of 24-hour trading volume. And since then, like I said, look at the volume. We're looking at about $2.4 billion. The value of Crow under Trump media umbrella now exceeds $2 billion. Huge stuff here. But now let's talk about, the token itself. And, obviously I'm going to give you guys my personal thoughts on this, but this is madness. Huge for, the Crow holders. But take a look at this. Bitcoin dominance, 58.3% right now, has seen an uptick since last night, but Crow doesn't seem to be caring at this point because of the momentum that it has for itself. But Bitcoin, on the other hand, has also pushed back up to $113,000 just an hour ago. We got rejected at that key range, but Bitcoin is in this upward trend. So, hopefully this trajectory carries on for the broader market, of course. But you can see this for yourself. We are above that 112 key range. But most importantly, we need to be making our way back above the $115,000, which I've obviously discussed with you guys time and time out. Very important level for us to be above. And as of now, even though we're sitting at almost 113, the chances of us pulling back down is still on the table. But anyhow, let's take a look at what happened with the Crow token. So wow, this you cannot make this up here, guys. Last time, the price of Cronos was around these levels was, of course, back in 2022. So we're already retesting those levels. But let's just say this was your confirmation. I spoke to you guys about this specific zone to be the confirmation for maybe some people that are sidelined. And now we have officially left the bear market cycle, that we're no longer in the bear market cycle. And yes, a lot of people are going to be like, were we in the bear market cycle prior to that? Yes, we were. Below the blue zone, which again, in technical analysis in the Fibonacci levels, this is considered, the blue zone is considered a 78.6 Fib zone. So you can see after breaking above that, we ended the bear market cycle, and obviously look at the massive move that we saw for ourselves. So let's say this was a confirmation. We saw this thing go up 60%. 60% increase in just the last 24 24 hours for Cronos. One of the craziest moves that we have seen for altcoins in such a short span of time. But of course, the Trump media, announcement with Crypto.com and how they're, coming up with this reserve for Cronos. Again, that is not going to be a small news. Some people thought it was, but here we have it. Look at the volume. I highlighted the volume increase as well for you guys in our yesterday's update. Look at this. We saw a major spike. Even if you go to the 2021 or 2022 levels, we did not see this much buying pressure coming for Cronos. And that should really tell you, how big of a deal this really is. But most importantly is the fact that, we saw such crazy amount of FOMO kicking in. We did come up to that key resistance. This resistance did come in our way around 26.9 cents, but we did not hold off for too long. We broke out of the major key resistance at 31.3 cents. And not only that, we saw a daily candle close happening above here. With the way things are happening right now, I wouldn't even be surprised if we retest the 61.8 and on to the 0.50, but maybe, but right now, obviously, with Bitcoin pushing towards the upside, if Bitcoin obviously reclaims back above 117, dominance pushes back down to 57.5%, I still think Cronos has a lot of momentum left in itself, but do expect some sort of a correction sooner rather than later. Obviously, if you look at it from July 1st, we're looking at an increase of about 358%. I know some of you that are, big Cronos holders, and believe it or not, there's a huge following for Crypto.com token. And people are spending their Cronos tokens. If you really understand the magnitude of the Crow token, you understand that it's not just a native token. There's obviously a lot to it, a lot of utility behind the Crow token itself. But what I'm saying is, early comers or people, massive whales that have been accumulating for years and years now, the fact that the price is back in the 78.6, maybe some people want to scale their profits out. So if you're in it for the long haul, then of course patience is your number one key to follow. But if you want to be locking some profits in, then stick with your exit strategies and scale some out according to your plan. But maybe we do see a retest down to 31.3 cents if Bitcoin were to see a little bit of a shakeout. But with the way Bitcoin's currently sitting, I'm not sure. But the momentum for Cronos right now, just telling me that I think we do push into the 61.8 and then kind of consolidate. We'll see what happens. But we're talking about Trump media. This merger is huge. This acquisition, that new company that they're obviously making. Just solely for the Cronos treasury. It's not a small announcement by any means. It's massive. So at this point, never say never. If you don't want to lock in profits because you don't want to miss out thinking this thing's gonna just do something like BNB did. Binance coin is sitting at like $900, I would say, which is insane to wrap my head around. If that's gonna be the case, do this, maybe have some stop losses in place, right? So in case the price were to pull back, the stop loss hits, your profits just don't get, just wiped out. So that's one thing I would suggest, but very, very bullish stuff here, for Cronos. And I think it's just the start. And what's crazy is, the craziest part for Cronos here is the fact that it moved so fast back in 2021 that there was not much resistance or support. And right now, even if the price is to head towards the upside, there's not much resistance. Yes, there is some in the 61.8, in the 0.50, but not major amounts of resistance. If the volume is able to back this, you never know what can happen with Cronos. And in this day and age, with the market where we're seeing billions of dollars flowing into the crypto space, a $33.6 billion valuation isn't even something unheard of or unrealistic. And the reason why I specifically say 33.6 billion is because that is what would be needed for Cronos to reach that dollar price point, which a lot of people want Cronos to do. But again, we got to take it step by step. Very, very interesting setup here. Make sure you do lock those profits in when you see them. Make sure you're not getting greedy though during these times. Greed can get the best of us. But let me know in the comments what you guys think. If you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that red subscribe button, and I'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.